Hi, everyone. While everyone's getting seated, how about a round of applause for our morning speakers? They were amazing. It's a very, very hard act to follow. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am Lindsey Spindle. I am Lindsey Spindle, the president of the Samueli Family Philanthropies. And Rob, I'm going to, instead of aging gratefully, I'm going to present gratefully and start by just saying thank you to Dr. Malik for including me today. Thank you to Dr. Malik's team for two things: the font size, I feel so seen, and for scheduling me after the bathroom break. Apparently, I am a hose. I also want to thank my boss and total boss lady, Susan Samueli, for her vision regarding the importance of well-being for all. Philanthropy is a bit of an odd field, so I'm often asked how I got into my line of work. The truth is that over the last 30 years, I've had a completely circuitous career with one common through line and one unique source of inspiration. The common thread, whether I was creating national campaigns to end childhood hunger or running a $2 billion foundation, is that I've taken my professional strengths and applied them in service of making the world more peaceful and prosperous, especially for women and children. The unique source of inspiration behind my work is my beloved paternal grandfather, whom I'd love to tell you more about today. I promise you, Dr. Malik and I did not coordinate this ahead of time. It may seem an unconventional choice to focus on a man at Women's Wellness Day, but the truth is that my grandfather was most responsible for helping me understand the importance of having purpose, how purpose can prolong and enrich life, and how purpose is not a fixed concept. This is Adolf Jack Zeller. And yes, that's me, picking my nose, with the classic youngest child of the 70s tragic haircut. That's my grandfather in the middle, in Israel at the Dead Sea. And here at the University of Michigan, because anyone who knows me knows that I cannot resist getting a Go Blue into any time I get a mic. UCI, I love you too. Go Blue, thank you. My German family, the Zellermeyers, arrived in Brooklyn via Ellis Island safely before the outbreak of World War II. Our family name, as you can see on our papers from Ellis Island, was promptly and perhaps thankfully shortened to Zeller. My grandfather may have gotten a new last name, but he was saddled with his first name, Adolf, which soon became synonymous with unprecedented barbarism. Deeply ashamed that his identity was forever tied to something so evil, my grandfather did everything he could to conceal his name. He spent his life going by AJ or Dolph, but to me, he was Bappa. Working class Bappa married my grandmother, Elaine, who came from a higher society Washington, D.C. family. Aren't they amazing looking? Despite his newfound wealth, my grandfather never abandoned his humbler roots, setting up his orthodonture practice in rural Virginia. Having grown up in Brooklyn, amongst many European immigrants, Bappa was affected by how many of his neighbors had bad teeth. In his estimation, their crooked teeth prevented many of them from smiling, which in turn hampered their chances at finding professional opportunity and love. Bappa would often say that a great smile can take you far. This shaped his view that everyone should have the benefit of straight teeth so that their smile could become their confidence card in the world. So Bappa dedicated Saturdays in his practice to his poorest patients, giving away dental services, oftentimes for nothing, or in exchange for tuna casseroles or crocheted potholders. Many of these children had never received routine dental care before and arrived quite fearful. So Bappa brought me along as his demonstration model. I spent hours of my childhood in a dental chair having goopy impressions made of my teeth to help calm his new patients. So sidebar, if any of you have general medical anxiety, dentists, need a buddy, I am 100% your girl. A devoted husband, my grandfather was devastated when his vibrant, beautiful Elaine was diagnosed with and died of ovarian cancer in her early 60s. In his heartbroken state, Bappa abruptly sold his medical practice. It was the loneliest and most despondent I had ever seen him. The only silver lining of Elaine's untimely death is that it coincided with the opening of the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. At the encouragement of our rabbi, Bappa applied for and was accepted as a volunteer for opening day in 1993. 3 days a week for years, donning his burgundy volunteer blazer with gold buttons, Bappa led museum tours and met thousands of people from all over the world. The museum staff quickly fell for my charming, chubby grandfather, showering him with take-home meals and far too many chocolate chip cookies. His lonely life was suddenly full again, but this time with a whole new set of people, young professionals and families, international tourists, historians, and politicians. Did I mention that Bappa took this job shortly after he was diagnosed with congestive heart failure and CLL, a chronic form of leukemia? As his health gradually faltered, the museum gave him less physically demanding assignments. Bappa's final role was as a seated greeter at the front door of the museum. When he was dying, my Bappa had one simple wish: bury me in my Holocaust memorial jacket. I once asked him why he loved spending time in a place that was so inherently sad. His response has stayed with me for the rest of my life. Yes, the underlying reason the museum existed was tragic, but the reason people came there was beautiful and therefore filled his heart. He said, "They come here to mourn our collective loss. They come here to face their humanity. They come here to remember. They come here to teach. They come here to learn. They come here simply to feel things with others, and in that, I am reminded that I still have a reason for living and a place where I belong." Volunteerism at the museum prolonged Bappa's life for several years longer than his doctors predicted he would live. It gave him newfound connections and unlikely sources of friendship. It regrounded him in his faith. Bappa's volunteer job at the museum propelled him to stay alive, ensuring he'd still be on Earth long enough to lock eyes with his firstborn grandchild, my daughter Piper. Also, slightly awful haircut compliment of yours truly. We got to pass lots of things on generation to generation. This brings me to why we are all here together today. Each of us has an opportunity to be like Bappa and learn from his life. Here are 3 specific lessons I'd like to underscore in the context of Women's Wellness Day. First and foremost, Bappa showed me that our purpose changes over time and with stages in life. Bappa's first purpose was to give the gift of a perfect smile, regardless of anyone's ability to pay. His second purpose was to show unconditional love to a dying wife. And his final purpose was to share the story of his homeland and live his last chapter proud of, rather than timid about his Jewishness. It is easy to think that we are endowed with a sole purpose. There are catchy phrases about find your purpose, implying that you only have one. Bappa's story shows that we find new reasons for being in different stages in life, and that an embrace of those shifts can not only grant us new moments of joy, but rather those experiences can actually be life-altering and enhancing. Secondly, living with purpose inevitably influences others. Papa's life became an inspiration for mine. Sorry, Mom and Dad, I never became a lawyer or a doctor, and please trust me, they are still disappointed. I can't fix teeth. I did, however, take up where my Papa left off in showing that each of us can embrace the Jewish practice of tikkun olam, or healing the world. Through my work, thanks to the trust of the Samuelis and my team, I'm in a fortunate position to help create well-being and opportunity for all here in Orange County. Lastly, I want to encourage all of us to remember that purpose is not the same as career, nor is it the same as identity. Papa's profession was orthodontics. His purpose, however, was to gift the gift of smiles and increase people's sense of confidence. My profession is philanthropy, and my identities include president, board director, working mom, loyal wife, queen of laundry. But my two main purposes, as I understand them to be in this moment, are to help others succeed and to be a truth teller, no matter how hard it is. I stress the difference between career and purpose because many of us conflate what we do with why we do it. And then when circumstances change, such as losing a job or children leaving home, people feel utterly lost, and this can have a profound impact on their health and well-being. In fact, I recently read an article in the Wall Street Journal about an emergent field of empty nester coaches. It's true. These coaches help find their distraught clients, often who are women, find new hobbies, establish different life patterns, and in some cases, rediscover how to connect with their spouses. Fascinated by this field, I reached out to a prominent empty nester coach to learn more. He confirmed for me that his clients had taken the job of parenting so seriously that it had become their sole reason for being. It had become their purpose, their identity, and their profession all at once. His job, as he sees it, is to help his clients figure out what they loved about the act of parenting and apply it to something else. He helps them see their purpose separate from the job they've had for the last 18 plus years. So forever the word nerd, I did some online research on Google Books Ngram Viewer tool to map how often the words purpose and identity appeared in a wide swath of literature from our founding in 1776 to 2019, the end range of the tool. You can see here that the word purpose began to plummet in its inclusion in books as we approach current times, and the appearance of the word identity increased. You can see them then mapped together. So what else has increased over the last decade? Obesity, depression, chronic illness, drug addiction, teenage rates of suicide, and an epidemic of loneliness. So while I'll leave the real research to the esteemed doctors who will grace this stage today, I will also leave you with this thought. Maybe, just maybe, our decreased focus on purpose, our motive for doing, at the expense of an increase in focus on identity, who I am perceived to be by others, is correlated with things that are making us sicker rather than well. What if a re-emphasis on purpose, rather than a focus on identity, holds the keys to better well-being? I loved my grandfather dearly. I miss him and wish he was alive to see that I endeavored to make a life that matters. That was the last thing he asked of me to do before his death. I am grateful that he showed me what a life of service to others is all about. In closing, I ask you to do 4 things. Hug everyone you love often. As a tribute to my grandfather, there's hugs. As a tribute to my grandfather, smile early and often. Embrace purpose over identity. And lastly, always dance with your grandfather. Thank you.